Today I'm going to do a video on Venus in different signs, and I hope you don't mind the music playing in the background. I tried to record in complete silence and it totally freaked me out. So I need some sound. So we're gonna listen to Buena Vista Social Club this evening. I hope it's not going to distract you, and if it does, then I'm sorry. So basically, what is Venus? Venus plays a role of how you are in relationships. As most of you know, it's not just the sun sign that affects your personality. There are different planets in your charts, and they all have a particular influence on your life and your personality. And Venus plays a rather big role in your chart. But more specifically, it's rather significant in terms of how you are in relationships. It's what makes you tick in relationships, and what makes those relationships last. It's not just about this instant sort of chemistry that you have with other people. It's very much about, you know, what it is, what ingredients you need to have in a relationship in order to make it a significant relationship for you. In order to make it a long-lasting relationship, it's sometimes it can also signify, actually it can be significant friends in your life. It can be, but more often it's about your long-term partners. And since, as we all know, it's St. Valentine's Day approaching. Sorry, I'm being slightly sarcastic here. I'm not a fan of this particular holiday, but I think, you know, love is great, and let's celebrate and let's embrace it. So I'm going to talk about Venus in different signs and how they affect their person. You know, to be completely honest, if I were to start talking about each position in detail, it would make an enormously long video, which is gonna be way too boring and I don't know, tiresome for me including. So I'm gonna focus on one particular aspect, and I'm going to focus on what you could do to impress your significant other, your date, your partner, and also what to sort of how to understand what, because there are different people express love in different ways, and we all, you know, love is a language, and even though it's universal, there are so many dialects, and it's sometimes difficult to understand one another. So I'm going to talk about how to impress that person with a particular Venus in a particular sign, and, you know, to sort of understand what it is that makes them tick. So I'll start off with the Venus in Aries, and if your Venus is in Aries, you love adventure, and including love. You are incredibly, you have quite a stamina when it comes to love, and you sort of like, it's you sort of get really excited very soon. And if you want to impress Venus in Aries, you need to be sort of quite fiery as well, because they come on quite strong usually, and if you sort of like to be a little bit sort of wishy-washy, they might not like it. And the best way to impress Venus in Aries is to do something together, something fun, because Venus in Aries really enjoy sharing experiences. So if you really want to have an amazing let's say St. Valentine's Day together, plan to do something exciting together. It can be something really extreme, even as far, I don't know, like jumping off a plane with, you know, the skydiving thing. It can be a little something a little bit more low-key, and if you enjoy the same band, you can go for a gig. But like sharing experiences actively is something that really like shows them that you love them, they love you, they connect through action. They really do. So even if like, even just cooking together, you know, like don't just cook for them. They'll probably get really impatient. They'll just kind of go, oh God, you know. They'll find another activity. So you need to engage with them. Don't just do something for them. Do things with them. It would really mean a lot to them, and they will feel really comfortable because they're quite giving actually in love. But like, you need to share, sort of, you have to have similar interests, similar hobbies. You need to do stuff together. And if you don't, try to engage with their hobbies, you know. And when it comes to gifts, let's say if they're really, they will usually have really active sort of like hobbies. And if they're really into cycling, give them something that will help them, I don't know, to be a better cyclist. I don't even know what that is, but like something really to sort of encourage their hobbies. And they'll probably, and to be completely honest, if you want to give a gift to Venus in Aries, they're quite easy to read, and they'll most likely give you gifts that they would like to receive. So sort of observe what they give you and how they treat you and what they want to do with you, and give it back. It's really as simple as that. They're quite childish and very sort of like, yeah, you know, they want to play and have lots of fun, and you sort of just need to sort of notice how they treat you and give it back. It's really quite straightforward. It's not complicated at all. So just you know, just have fun with them and play with them, and you'll have an amazing time. And Venus in Taurus are also like quite easy to read because they like to give sort of they like to share physical pleasure with other people on all sorts of levels, but they're very sensual and they're into their five senses, and they really enjoy sharing that with another person. You can actually cook for them, cook an amazing elaborate meal for them, or take them out for a really amazing meal, or I don't know, like give them a massage, or like, you have to be good at it. Like, they really value quality as well. So have some quality sort of sensual time with them. Like, I don't know, like maybe have like a day out spa thing for two people, something like that. They like to be like sort of chill. They like to chill. Like, they just want to chill out and you know, engage in all these sensual experiences. And I don't know, in terms of gifts, they like beautiful things, so give them some really beautiful but also expensive. They like luxury, so some kind of, they're also really sensitive. They have an extremely sensitive taste buds and an extremely sensitive sense of smell. So you can really sort of play with that. Like, you know, Venus and Taurus would really like, if they love the perfume, or if you wear the perfume that they love, you know, they're gonna like sexually. They're also incredibly sexually, and they're turned on by all the sort of, you know, sensual physical things. So if they're really into silk, wow, you know, like it's not, they're not very difficult to read. You'll come to their house, you know, you'll probably know. If you're with them, you will know. So sort of engage with that and embrace it fully, especially like in lovers. They like lovers who can really sort of you know, just go for it. They don't like to rush. Like, they like to really be in it and enjoy it to the fullest. If you engage all of the five senses, they'll be in heaven, you'll be in heaven. They also put quite a bit of emphasis on sexual side of relationships, and you know, they love pleasure. Basically, they're hedonists. They are. And Venus in Taurus would really enjoy that. Venus in Gemini, you know, Venus in Gemini, you just need to sort of let them talk. take them out on a date and let them talk. They like to be seen as somebody who knows quite a lot about a lot of stuff, and they do. In all honesty, they do. So you need to sort of let them talk. And you might go and see like some really, I don't know, some really interesting controversial play and then discuss it afterwards. If you're not an intellectual type, then just listen and ask them questions, just but engage with them intellectually. And they also will most likely really appreciate it on sort of a romantic level. They'll most likely really like an element of surprise, you know. They like excitement, not as much as Venus and Aries, because Venus and Aries, honestly, take them on top of a volcano, they're gonna love it. Venus and Gemini, they're a little bit more mellow, but still they like the element, more intellectual, sort of like, wow, you know, something completely unexpected, something quite wacky. They usually have a really good sense of humor, so they would quite enjoy that involves sort of humor. And something that's quite sort of fun, you know, but something you can talk about. They love talking. And if you're not a very talkative type, then you need to let them talk, and they'll be actually quite comfortable. And as long as they see that you're interested, they will be quite comfortable with that. Venus in Cancer. If you want to impress Venus in Cancer, propose them. You know, they're gonna love it. But on a more serious note, they know if the relationship is sort of real material or not. They will, unlike Venus and Gemini, they would really want to engage with you emotionally. They would want to know what you feel, how you feel. Oh my God, they will want all of it, and they'll dig very deep into it. And if you're gonna try to fake it, you're gonna suffer. So you need to be quite honest with Venus in Cancer, and you need to be quite sort of. They're very romantic. They're like a typical sort of Hollywood romantic movie. Venus in Cancer would want to have a really romantic evening with a candle. Give them flowers, you know. Like, do all the like the checklist of of all the romantic things, like, but don't be too predictable, because they can read if it's fake. So you need to impress them. Like, you just need to let go and allow yourself to be romantic, because they would love it. You know, like in the modern age, a lot of people don't quite like this sort of over romantic sort of picture of relationships. They do. They might say whatever. They're usually very sarcastic people, but it's just a cover up. And they would love to have a really romantic evening with you, and feel like, you know, like it's they like all this beauty and like sort of old school almost romance. They like that a lot. So just go for it, really, and show them that you care. And in all honesty, if you don't, they will know it. So yeah, the relationship will be over quite soon. So yeah, don't mess with Venus in Cancer, because they'll work it out. Venus in Leo. Venus in Leo is everything that's grand. Venus in Leo loves to love. It's, oh my God, it's like they put love on a pedestal. Quite often they put their lovers on a pedestal. So if you're going out, let's say if it's on Valentine's Day, and if you're going out, you need to look your 200% best. They will judge you. Like, you need to prepare. You need to, like, they're quite into what you look like and how others see you. So you need to look really like amazing. You really do. Another thing about Venus in Leo, they like this sexual power games. So you can try it with them. Most likely they'll like it. Or if you dance like a striptease for them, like something like that, they would love it. Especially, you know, unless you are actually a strip dancer and you do it every weekend, then no, do the opposite. and be like this innocent whatever, but like they need to feel really special. If like you need to convince them you've never done it, it's very daring, and you do it just for them, oh my god, it's gonna be mind-blowing. Yeah, again, a sign that's really into love, very giving and very sort of like expressive in terms of affection, but it has to be in your face. Don't be scared to be in your face. If you don't want to do a strip dance yourself, ask them to do it. Whatever their first response might be, they will most likely do it. The Leos love to be on stage, and they'll do it. You'll see. Not maybe straight away, but they will do it. And things like that, you know, they really love being the one, and they love being the person who gives you more pleasure than anybody else on this planet. Like, it's all very exaggerated. So it's in your face, exaggerated, lots of affection. If you put a gigantic picture of their face next to your bed, that's it. You know, things like that. It's very grand. And they'll do the same, really. So if it's a woman, give her like a gigantic bouquet of flowers, expensive perfume, but something like really that I don't know, like really is for her and really makes her feel special, really special. She would love that. Venus in Virgo, that's quite an interesting one. You know, she's being if it's a she, if she's being asking you to clean a flat or put the shelf on the wall for quite a while, do it. Venus in Virgo is a bit weird because they get quite a bit of pleasure from being of service to other people. So, you know, again, if it's a she, if she wants you to buy a suit, let her buy a bloody suit. Even if you don't want one, even you know the kind of suit wearing guy, it doesn't matter. Let her buy the suit. She'll feel amazing. You know, you probably will as well because they usually have really good taste. So let her be of service to you. Same goes for the guys, and you know, like if they really want to do something for you, let them do it. But if they've been nagging, you know, if it's something really practical, they're really practical people, and if they've been like they look after everything, you know, and you know, sort of like do one little thing, like do the shopping, the cooking, like do one thing. They will really appreciate it because they're like these multitaskers, and they like to do too many things all at once. And if you relieve them of that pressure by doing just one thing, they would really appreciate it. And if it's a gift, like they love actually beautiful things. They really do. Despite being all practical, they like really impractical in that respect. They love beautiful things. So give them something really, but it's like it has to be something really quite special. You have to have pretty good taste. And if you don't, like ask someone. You know, if you're buying for a ring for a Virgo woman and you know you don't feel confident in your taste, ask someone, I don't know, her sister, I don't know, her best friend. Like they oh god, in terms of like everything has to be perfect, including your taste. And if you don't have a good taste, then you have to rely on someone else. But in terms of gifts, it needs to be something, you know, like something very special. I'm not just talking expensive, but something that's quite exquisite would be the word. Venus in Libra. Venus in Libra is also a sign that is quite attracted to the whole idea of love. But they're quite sort of intellectual about it. They're quite idealistic about it. So if you're Venus in Libra, you will most likely idealize your partners, and you idealize the whole sort of concept of being in a relationship with someone. They sort of like, they can go from one relationship to another, but every relationship would be incredibly significant to them. And they'll put quite a bit of effort. So if you want to impress Venus in Libra, you have to be again, sort of quite slightly, you have to demonstrate it. And Make it personal, but not too emotional. So unlike Venus in Cancer, don't make it like too sort of like romantic, too emotional. Like it might confuse them. They must start, start thinking too much. So you do something that's, I don't know, like, these days all the photos are digital. So if you go on a holiday together, maybe make an album, print the actual photos, do something like that. But like things like that, the small things, they're also really into detail. So like if you do something really small and really sort of personal and quite subtle, like, like a cherry on a cake, they'll love it. So they're quite gentle in that respect, and you need to sort of watch what it is that they like. But I think in terms of gifts, even they'll most likely enjoy the gifts that sort of like unite the two of you. So unlike Aries, don't just give them a bike, like make a gift that means something to both of you, and they will quite enjoy that. Venus in Scorpio. uh, Whether you are aware of it or not, Venus in Scorpio probably already knows what you're going to give them as a gift. They're quite sort of controlling in their relationships, but not in a bad way. They understand the very sort of deep currents, emotional sort of flows that are happening in people, themselves and others. So as a result, they can hold quite a bit of power in relationships. And Venus in Scorpio, oh my goodness, like they know you, if you're with them, and you're trapped basically, and you love it. And another thing about Venus in Scorpio, like as most people know, is one of the most sexual signs. And if it's Venus in Scorpio, and if it's some special occasions and Valentine's Day or whatever, you just need to sort of be prepared to be in bed. You're gonna spend the whole day in bed, and you're probably gonna spend the next day in bed as well, and probably the next day as well. And I think the only thing you can do really is to be practical about it and have some food in your fridge, and maybe champagne, and prepare for some wild, ride, and that's it. You just need to be very open-minded. And if you don't want to starve, like have some food in your house, and yeah, and go for it. Yeah, do that. Venus and Sagittarius. Venus and Sagittarius, it's quite difficult to impress Venus and Sagittarius because they're just cool, they're just cool. And if you try really hard to impress them, it's not going to be cool. So you have to sort of like strike the balance. You have to sort of impress them, but you also have to be cool. So if you try really hard to impress Venus and Sagittarius, they'll think, oh God, like you're desperate. But at the same time, if you don't like know what they like and what they're interested in, they'll go, what's the point? Like, you're not interested in me, quite clearly. So it's a bit of a difficult one as well. It's one of those, and you have to sort of be observant and understand what it is that they like. They quite like adventure as well, but not necessarily, not as wild again as Aries, maybe not as adventurous as not as spontaneous as Gemini, but like they quite like an element of surprise, I would say. Although they might not ever admit it, but from my personal experience, I think they do like it. So if you want to be safe, just like do something that's a little bit off, that confuses them a little bit, but not too much, and be cool about it. Just gonna go, yeah. How about that? and intellectual. They like intellectual stuff of all sorts. So, you know, if you go for a concert or whatever, they probably won't be offended if you give them a book or something, if it's a really good book. Um, but if they don't like it, they might think that you're not cool. Yeah. So Venus in Capricorn. Not the most expressive sign when it comes to love and relationships. So you sort of need to be prepared for that. And you might try really hard to impress them, and you might feel like, God, you know. But most likely, deep inside, they will really appreciate it. But they like to control everything, and they like to plan everything. So if you're in a kind of relationship and they like to plan everything, you just let them plan everything. And you give them an element of, I don't know, like, I think it's sort of like helpful to help them calm down. No, chill out, relax, and if you both start like plan and sort of like, oh, but I want to do this thing, no, but I want to do, it's gonna be a clash. So sort of like you need to be quite sort of laid back and let them do the thing. And then when they're not very expressive in terms of emotions, you also need to keep in mind that actually they probably do adore you, but they didn't quite know how to show it. So you know you need to have like a sort of mental flexibility, and you need to be quite sort of like chilled out and 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 just roll with it, because they're actually quite giving when it comes to love as well. You know, both in terms of affection and in terms of sex. But you need to sort of like not to stress them out. Like if you're gonna panic and stress out about the fact, oh, do they like me? Do they? What's going on? It's gonna stress them out. So it's better to just chill out, you know, and go with it. And if you're gonna give them a gift, give them something practical, you know. If they have a hobby, encourage that and give them that. And encouragement in general really work. Like Venus in Capricorn usually is sort of like really quite sort of introverted and find it very difficult to share what matters to them. So if you know what matters to them, encourage it and go, oh, that's really sweet. You write poetry. Wow, that's amazing. Or, you know, whatever it is that they do, really encourage it and show it to them. They will really, really appreciate it, and they will pay you back 10 times more for sure. So, but it takes time. It takes time. Take your time with Venus and Capricorn. Venus in Aquarius. Venus in Aquarius is an interesting one because you sort of have to not be there. So if you especially if you just started dating someone, and if you know somebody who's Venus in Aquarius, oh God, you really need to play cool, and not just like Venus in Sagittarius. You need to be like way beyond that. You need to be quite, if not just completely unavailable, you need to be sort of really sort of confusing, and you need to sort of break the pattern all the time. So they wouldn't quite know what it is that you feel, what exactly is going on. So if you want to do, if it's a special occasion, if it's a Venus in Aquarius, don't do the conventional. Jesus is the opposite of Venus in Cancer. Don't do anything conventional. Oh my God, it's gonna kill it. Just, you know. So something completely non-conventional, quite sort of hip, you know. Or if not, like it has to be something quite like something they don't quite expect, and also expect to get something completely out of the blue that you don't expect, because you might be feeling like, oh, you know, I need to do something for them, I don't know where this is going, blah blah, and then bang, they, I don't know, like buy a trip on a helicopter for 2 of you over Tokyo, whatever. I don't know, but they're completely unpredictable. They don't know. You don't know, you don't know, they don't know. It's like you have to sort of prepare for this ride of like, it's like it's like walking in a maze, and you know, but not walking together, like walking from different directions, and it makes it very exciting for them. So you need to sort of prepare for that and do that and play that game. And if you don't like playing games like that and you just want to get married tomorrow, no. They do marry and they settle down, but they need a person who values their independence quite a lot. And the next one is Venus in Pisces. Venus in Pisces is another that's quite interesting, because you also don't quite always know what it is that's going on in their heads, and you have to prepare for that. And you need to sort of unlike Venus in Aquarius, you have to actually engage with that, because they sort of like, you know, they sort of like give you this little what do you call them, signs, and you have to sort of follow. What does it mean? Kind of like Venus and Leo, they do mind games, but Venus and Leo is very straightforward, you know, like dominatrix and you're this. But Venus and Pisces, they do really weird stuff, and you don't quite understand what it is. And they're also very emotional, like Venus and Cancer, but very non-conventional. So you kind of like need to engage with them emotionally, but like you need to sort of let go of all the taboo, and you need to just go with it. Just go with it, and be there. Like they can read you like nobody else, you know. And if you try to lie or manipulate, oh my God, you're gonna pay. So or they leave. It's quite difficult to actually keep them, because they give their 200% when it comes to their partners, but they're very sort of, they read, because they're very psychic and intuitive. They sort of, in relationships, they can see straight through you, and they can penetrate very deep. And I don't know, you need to be open for that, and sort of prepare yourself for that kind of journey, because it's I don't know, I think Venus in Pisces sort of like transform people. Usually they sort of like see relationships as a way to transform someone in some way, and you know, so you can be prepared for anything. I think Venus in Pisces is quite a difficult one, and you sort of have to prepare yourself for pretty much anything. And if you're that kind of person, and you can take it, you'll have a blast. So that's it. So yeah, I wish everyone a very happy 10 Valentine's Day. If you have any comments, any questions, post them below. And if you would like to have a personal consultation, you can email me. And I hope you know, enjoy this day and any other day. And I hope you enjoyed this video.